Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today I'm back in action with better filming equipment and I've figured out how not to look at those two lines on either side of the video because nobody likes to look at that. Today's recipe is going to be homemade pizzas. We're gonna make them on the griddle later today. But the first step in the recipe is obviously to put together the pizza dough. This is a vegan pizza dough, which is so delicious. I wouldn't call it a difficult recipe, but it's definitely time consuming and you have to plan it out. So I can't start it like 20 minutes before I want to eat, just like I do with every other meal. So I also have to make sure I follow the recipe exactly because pizza dough is kind of tricky. So that's what we're making today. Follow along to see what we're up to. Okay, so in the mixer, my mom's handy dandy, trusty old kitchen-made mixer that I think is definitely older than I am. In the mixer, I have 5 cups of all-purpose flour, and then I'm gonna add to that 1.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast, and then I'm gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of, it calls for sea salt, but I don't have sea salt, so here we are. Handy dandy table salt. It's just gonna have to be good enough. So then I'm gonna mix this all together till it's combined. Hopefully it doesn't go everywhere. Okay. That was dramatic. Oh my God. Going everywhere. Oh my God!
What?
Holy Jesus!
What?
Just went everywhere.
Oh.
All over my computer.
Oh no.
Meredith, SOS!
What do you want me to do?
Oh my... Okay. I cannot believe that just happened. I just don't even know what to say. We're just gonna roll with it. After careful cleanup and Googling if flour was gonna ruin my keyboard and speaking to my boyfriend, I vacuumed the flour out of the keyboard. I think it might have worked and, you know, fingers crossed, but we're gonna move on. So, next step, I can't even talk. Next step is cold water. So my yeast, salt, and flour are certainly mixed in here. And now I'm going to take 2¼ cups of water and slowly add it into the mixer, very slowly. Using the paddle attachment on my mixer, and then once it's all incorporated and mixed together, I'm gonna put the hook on, and then I'll let the hook go for like 10 minutes. So it's basically kneading it for me, which I think is a lot easier. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start by adding 2¼ cups slowly into the mixer. Okay, so I feel like it's pretty well incorporated. So now what I'm gonna do is kind of scrape the sides and I'm gonna scrape off the paddle attachment and I'm gonna put the hook back on and I will let this go for probably 10 minutes. And if it starts to stick to the sides, I'll just put a little bit of flour in and I'll keep adding it if it needs it, but usually it doesn't. Just kind of have to feel it out what consistency the dough needs to be at. Okay, so next up, I'm going to pull the dough out of the mixer and I'm gonna put some flour down on the countertop. I'm gonna divide the pizza dough up into 6 small pieces and I'm gonna put some olive oil in my hands and I'm gonna roll them around and make them into little pizza dough balls. And then I'm gonna set the dough on 2 cookie sheets that I've prepared with olive oil. And then I'm gonna cover them with some plastic wrap and I'm gonna let them sit for 2 to 3 hours and so they'll rise. So here we go. I've got the pizza dough here. It's super easy. You don't have to roll it out or anything. Let me move you down so you can kind of see. Get this out of the way. So I put some flour down and I just make sure that the pizza isn't going to stick to the surface. And then all I do is just pull with my fingers. Kind of use your fingers to make little marks to kind of make a crust, if you will. And this one is for my grandmother, so I've made it very small. Just make it into a circle, call it a day. And then what you can do after that is you're gonna put all your toppings on it, whatever you wanna put on it. And then you put it into a hot oven, like 500 degrees. Make sure your pan was preheated, which is why we like to use the griddle, because the griddle's already hot. You don't have to worry about preheating anything. Just throw it on there and it cooks so fast, like maybe 5 minutes. You leave it on there and pull it off and it's ready to eat. Okay, so next step in the pizza making process is the vegan cheese. I love a cashew cream sauce. So I have made here a cashew mozzarella cheese sauce. In here I did half a cup of soaked cashews, a cup of water, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, nutritional flakes, a little bit of flour. That's about it. So I'm gonna blend this with my high-speed blender for a couple minutes, make sure it's nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna put it on the stove and I'm gonna cook it on medium to low heat, 10 to 15 minutes. It'll start to really thicken up and kind of grab the consistency, not of cheese, but it's gonna be something you could like dollop onto the pizza. So I'm gonna blend this up and put it on the stove. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Here's the finished product. Please subscribe if you haven't already and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. We'll see you next time.